Hi everybody, welcome back to The Limit Breakdown, where we break down the latest in TV, movies, and everything going on in entertainment. I'm your host, Migs.
I'm Sid.
And today we're going to be doing our video game review of Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. Our too long didn't play review for Spider-Man 2 is 5 hearts.
This game had great gameplay and had a phenomenal storyline, as well as the replayability of this game is really good.
However, there were some missions that were a little bit on the repetitive side, and even though this game has been out for a little under a year at this point, there are still some glitches that have been slowly patched, but still occurring.
So these are the reasons we gave it 5 hearts. Stick around after our intro for a deep dive, spoiler-filled review of Spider-Man 2, the video game.
Welcome back to The Limit Breakdown, and just a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to check us out on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, as well as all podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So with that out of the way, Mr. Sid, tell us what you thought about Spider-Man 2.
I loved this game. And for anyone that's been watching our channel for a while, this is my very first 5 heart review. I hate giving 5 hearts to anything because to me, that means it was like top of the line, creme de la creme, perfect. And this game to me is definitely one of those. Not only is Spider-Man one of our favorite characters, the game itself was just beautifully done, like we mentioned earlier. Everything about this game, from the costumes to the web slinging, which is super fun, to the actual storyline, which was so compelling, were fantastic. I loved the different dynamics that both the Spider-Man brought. So when you play as Miles Morales or when you play as Peter, they have different abilities, they can do different things. And I thought that was so beautifully and craftily done that I loved it. Even my little nephew that plays it till this day, he's like, dude, when are you doing a review? Because he's like, I love this game so much.
Yeah.
And if they ever come out with DLCs, which I hope they do, I am going to be one of the first people in line to buy that DLC. What about you?
I agree with you. We almost did a split decision on this one. I wasn't quite ready to give it a 5. I'm a little bit. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero overall, but I thought that this the biggest issue that I had, the reason why I didn't initially want to give it 5 hearts, although I came around in the end, but I'm not a huge fan of Harry Osborn as Venom.
Fair.
I thought that if you were going to do Venom, that Eddie Brock is the right person to introduce that story with. But again, the avenue that they've taken for the video games has been, they haven't been adapting stories from the comic books. Rather, they've been pulling certain elements and crafting their own. And in this, I appreciate them giving us their own version of Venom. But I thought that, like, yes, eventually Venom does get all of the powers that we see in this, but he doesn't get them right away.
Yeah.
And he was just like super OP, just straight from the rip. That being said, though, I really enjoyed this version of Kraven. It was absolutely, he was gruesome, he was ruthless, he was
very crafty.
Everything that I wanted to see in a Kraven story.
I will piggyback on that a little bit. So how the game started, and I'm talking about strictly story wise, how the game started, you're like, okay, the bad guy is going to be this, and then it turns into, oh well, actually there's a secondary bad guy that we're actually looking at who turns out to be this, and then at the end it's like, oh, actually the big bad guy is going to be Venom.
Yeah.
Right. So the dynamics shifting from, oh, he's, Spider-Man is catching all the villains, and it turns out to be Kraven that's behind everything that's going on, and then, oh no, now we're switching to Harry Osborn becoming Venom, and that's the big bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that change in the plot was so craftily done. That is another reason why I gave it the rating that I gave. It's fantastic. And I will say for myself, the video games that I enjoy, that I truly play a lot, are story-driven games. I play a lot of one-player, long-hour video games because I enjoy story-driven video games. This was a great mix, right? So people love Grand Theft Auto, specifically Grand Theft Auto 5, which is a truly good game. This is basically a nerd's version of Spider-Man that's Grand Theft Auto. It's Grand Theft Auto Spider-Man is what it was, and it has such a fantastic story that I have another friend that he played Spider-Man. He played a few missions, but then after that, he just goes on and web slings and does that. He's like, this is more entertaining. Yeah, because it truly is so entertaining. He's like, the missions are there, they're fun, but it doesn't matter. Yeah,
and I mean, the cool thing is like it'll be like random computer generated enemies that are doing crime and committing heists. So you literally could just go crime fighting. Yeah. Throughout the city, just randomly.
Yeah, I love that. Now, one of my favorite things about this game, which was another thing that I loved about the previous game as well, the suits. Yes. The different suits you get. Now, this one, they did amp it up just slightly. What they did was, so you have different suits, and then you have the variation.
Yeah, the different palettes
of that suit, which I thought was great, because there's some suits I'm like, I like this suit, but I don't like that color. And then you change the color to what it was, to something different palette, and it looks so much better. Yeah. And it was fantastic. The changing those palettes to me was so fun, and every time I got a new suit, I got excited. I'm like, oh my god, now what is it? I would, buy from the
so the classic Iron Spider suit in all white and gold.
Yeah,
that was
my god, that was so good. I love the different variations too of it. Oh, so good. I loved it. Even and I love that even Peter Parker and Miles had different suits that they wore, so it's not always the same.
Oh yeah,
that part was so clever to me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Miles shield suit. That was pretty cool.
A thing that I want to mention was, obviously, so we had mentioned that it had glitches. So why are we giving it 5 stars if it had glitches? Nowadays, obviously, technology has gone to great depths, and the graphics of this game are so good, so clean. There has to be pitfalls, which is understandable. When this game first released, there were so many glitches that happened that they were patching it, I think, almost bi-weekly or monthly. And even now that the game is almost, I think, 9 months old, it's still having a lot of glitches. One of the things that happened with me was his phone would ring, but there's nothing going on. Yeah, it's just ringing consistently. I would literally had to turn the game off and turn it back on for it to go away. Yeah, and that was kind of annoying. Yeah, right. So for a game for this caliber to have certain glitches, it was annoying, but I don't think it took away. So I still gave it 5 because of that reason.
I think just from like you were saying, the main reason the main games that I play nowadays are story driven games. The first Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. These types of games have all been something that I enjoy, and this story kept you wanting to push forward towards that next chapter, and it gave you just enough with each little mission, each little bit, that you're like, oh, I wanna go on to the next part. And then before I knew it, I was 44 hours into this game. And that's not even like being a completionist, that's just going through the main story. And then that's I think I haven't done it yet, but I plan on 100%ing this game. I did the first one. I platinumed the first Spider-Man game, and I easily put over 100 hours into it. So I could probably see the same.
Yeah, so I actually did 100% this game. And some of the side quests that you have to do, like the little pins that you have to do, they were really hard, specifically the Mysterio ones. Those ones were really hard. Some of them were so hard. Now, it took me forever. I almost gave up. 100% of this game is still, it was just fun to me. It's super fun to me. Another dynamic that I wanted to throw in there was each character's development and each character's what they brought to the table for the game. Specifically Miles Morales, because his love interest, because I think they became girlfriend again, his love interest being deaf, and they put so much thought and effort into those side missions, but some of the side missions they were cute and clever, but they were kind of the same thing, and that kind of got a little annoying. But you can just go do something else at that time and come back to it.
Yeah.
Which, yes, that part was annoying, but at least it's not repetitive. You have to do it back to back to back.
Yeah.
Right? So it gives you a break, which I actually really enjoyed as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, the biggest reason for me for giving it as high a score was the story overall. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Harry Osborn as Venom, but it made sense for the story that they wanted to tell. And this particular version of Harry was sick. His mother had fallen sick from some type of illness. They didn't really explain what specifically it was, but the symbiote was healing him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what the symbiote is known for doing is it corrupts. So then, it takes his initial desire to, quote unquote, heal the world into this extreme. Yeah. So now, I'm going to turn everyone into hosts for symbiotes. And like I said, they pulled from a lot of different storylines in the comics. They didn't specifically adapt a particular storyline, but they pulled from a lot of different ones and kind of formulated their own stories, which is one of the things that I enjoyed most about the video game world that they built, is that it's their own individual thing. So like it wasn't like, oh, I read this comic so I know what was gonna happen. Like it had enough. I mean, honestly, I didn't see the whole situation where Harry killed Craven like that. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a lot more adult themes than I expected, in a good way, not a bad way, in a good way.
The boss fights were really hard too.
They were really hard, very, very different, very nice. It's not the same rinse and repeat boss fight. You're not doing the same thing every time. There's different dynamics to it. Sometimes there's more environmental factors. Sometimes it is just a straight brawl. I
mean, quite a bit of strategy too. There were certain like, especially towards the end, with the Venom, like he's not affected by the web, so you have to swing around the environment, figure out what's available to you. Like it was
when you are Mary Jane and you're sneaking by all the super soldiers, man, that part says basically now you're playing a Metal Gear Solid type thing where you're sneaking around and doing things like that, which I thought was fantastic. I loved, which is Spider-Man is known for, all the cameos of everything. So at the end, they introduce all the different, a few different types of Venom offsprings, right? Which I thought was awesome. When Mary Jane becomes
Scream,
and then there were a few others, which was great. One of the biggest things, which I did not see coming, but I'm glad they did it, is Peter Parker now, quote unquote, retiring as Spider-Man and giving up the mantle to Miles Morales. And Miles is like, all right, dude, I have trained under your wing now, and I can do this. And him being the new Spider-Man. Yeah. So in the next DLC, or if they ever make Spider-Man 3, he's gonna be the main guy. Yeah. Which I thought was a great handoff. Yeah. So, final thoughts.
If you haven't gotten a chance to check out Spider-Man, there's 3 games currently on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. There are 3 games currently. All of them are worth a play, but if you wanted to just pick up the latest one, you really wouldn't be too far behind. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic gameplay, absolutely great story time. If you've got 50 hours or so to burn, it is a great time.
Yeah, I agree. If you like story-based games, or if you like Spider-Man, or if you like Grand Theft Auto, this is a culmination of everything. It's basically a Spider-Man Grand Theft Auto game with really good storyline, great gameplay, and just visually very appealing and extremely fun. So check it out, have fun, play on. But those are our thoughts and opinions on Spider-Man 2, the video game. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
And as always, don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out with the algorithm. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree, if you hate everything we said, anything you want to tell us. As always, we appreciate all your interactions, and we will catch you next time with some more content.
Spider-Man, did we need? Expansion.